healing sort of playstyle. You farm up, you rotate, you lay out the pathway for your team to do the rest. This Lolita though, this is a bit of a curveball, man. You can bounce back some of the spells from Aboy, the Terrify, which is one of the most important ones. The damage from the Moskov as well. Instead of tanking it, you can reflect it. That's great. Those are the only two things that he can do. Maybe the Numinous Blast is what he's looking for here.
Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the lineup rating, the lineup index, very similar, but a little favoring more towards Fanatic Onic. It all depends on the execution now as we enter the Land of Dawn for the first game in our highlighted match of the day. Geek Fam versus Fanatic Onic.
Welcome.
Match of the day in the Land of Dawn. We go. Fanatic Onic. Sky Kings versus Kingslayers. A battle that we have seen multiple times before, but for Geek Fam, it's always different every season because they've always had different members. And now it's another variant. They were able to beat them with Masako and Veldora. Now it's Chadera.
And speaking of difference, usually we see a revitalized Lolita, revitalized Hylos. No, Vengeance Hylos. A lot tankier in a short burst of time, but lower cooldown on that playmaking tool, that battle spell. Whereas Keyboy has a good old flicker, so playmaking, as always, is his priority. Emblems by IndieHome, though, show that tenacity still, of course, for res on the Hylos, but the Masterus, the weapon mastery from Sans hints a bit at the late game angle, especially with a early game, with a burst-heavy gold laner. I guess Sans will be picking up the slack later on as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's very unique to see the weapon mastery on a Zask, and I guess that's what they're going for, right? But with Brody against Chadera, will Fnatic Onic be able to look for that early game pressure that the Brody is notoriously usually able to have?
And look at the positioning here. CW freezing the lane. Chadera immediately gets put in a weird spot as Keyboy waits around, man. This is a calculated trap. Would it pay off, though?
Bottom lane as well. It's against, up and clear. Chadera definitely getting bullied out of this lane. Big smack in the face too. No Purify for Chadera. He opted for Flicker.
He did get that the gold card right there, though. He wasn't denied from it. So still pretty okay. Chadera is used to playing in a quote-unquote losing matchup. But look at this rotation, man. Instant clear with that Grok with the Phobias reaching level 4. Geek Fam make the play.
Veldora actually has a Demonic Force proc, goes in onto Kyrie, will be able to get him to use the Enhanced Sword. Vincent gonna be chain CC'd here, but still, good retribution by Vincent. Eternal Guard to knock two members up. Rez, even with the Vengeance, cannot survive, and Veldora is a big smack in the face to Keyboy. Kyrie can only just get the purple buff as Fnatic Onic trail behind in the early game.
Ever as reliable, Vincent on that retribution, and understanding that there was no contest, it does make sense that Geek Fam take control over this early portion of the game, especially with the immense wave clear, right? They have Beloyski on the Grok, and they also have a boy on the Vexana, so they were able to set up a lot quicker, and hence Fnatic Onic being caught quite behind.
Especially with a lot of members not reaching level 4 just yet in the game overall. The fact that they have a Phobias that's rushed into a higher level means that they have multiple ultimates, free ultimates, because there's no cooldown technically on that Infernal Pursuit. So Geek Fam use it to its full potential. Right now, playing on the top side.
CW is actually falling behind her Chadera. Is this something that we expected? But wait a second, that's a lot of damage.
Oh, and then round blast. Oh, bad flicker. Good Terrify though. Beloyski has the wild charge. He flickers forward. Goes for the wild charge only onto Keyboy. I don't think there's going to be enough damage to take him down. Vincent is walking up, unable to get in range in time. But yeah, an uncharacteristic miss from Keyboy.
He was having the angle on the Luminum Blast a bit too far right, as if he's expecting a boy to move forward there. Not really angling it towards a boy's own turret. He flickered through to try and get the pick up, but it didn't land. That was a great outplay by Sans though, the reaction time to get away from the fracture of Vincent. But for now, Geek Fam have all the control, man. They still have a lot more damage, a lot more wave clear, and when it comes to just the brawls, they have a lot more spells spammable in these fights. So Fnatic Onic are taking it easy, and they're making sure that at least the key members like Kyrie are keeping up in EXP and gold.
So what's the plan now for Fnatic Onic? Because technically Geek Fam, if they continue on this pace, the fact that they have the control over the neutral objectives at the moment is okay, right? Because at the end of the day, they do still have Chadera on the Moscow, but for Fnatic Onic, what are they waiting for?
Ooh. They're supposed to play with the gold lane, but Keyboy,
Moving on blast, this time no flicker. Veldora still doing a good job. Now popping a vengeance, jumping onto Kyrie, buying a lot of time. Eternal Guard popped in, good in that sword. But Loyski wins it out with the power of nature. Kyrie gets caught in the midst of the team fight. Rez, can he try to turn things around? A Tornapot memory, not enough to take Beloyski down as Veldora jumps back in with the Infernal Pursuit, stun down. Spear of Destruction connecting to the back. Will Chidera go for it? Veldora getting the stacks again, and Fanatic Onic again are still behind. Look at Chidera munching on that turret down below. He should be able to get it.
They got a turret, they got the turtle, and they've got the kill as well. 3-0 in the first 5 minutes for Geek Fam.
Uncharacteristic plays coming in from Fnatic Onic right here. A more reactive draft, a very aggressive playstyle though. The Numinous Blast used up almost immediately. And look at this. Veldora alone has no opposition right here. The fact that Geek Fam were able to negate all of that DPS, all the shred potential from Fnatic Onic, means that Veldora can just walk up like this, and worst case scenario, he'll be forced, he will get taken out, but it's gonna take a lot of time.
So it falls back to the question that I really wanted to ask earlier, Arashi, before they went in for the turtle. What's the plan for Fnatic Onic?
In theory, it really should be to play with the Brody, right? Get the winning lane a bit more aggressive. And you saw that the rotations earlier from Fnatic Onic were kind of banking on that working. Keyboy going to the gold lane again and again. But now you can see that Chidera, especially after taking the turret and taking all that gold on the bottom side, is definitely having a bit of quite the advantage when it comes to the gold.
Yeah, and again, right, that's why I'm not really that big of a fan of the Brody pick here. It's good in lane, yes, in this matchup. It's a good matchup. The Brody does beat Moskov, but knowing that CW is mostly a weak side player, you can really see that he hasn't been able to utilize the winning matchup. And again, Fnatic Onic, yeah, they've been playing around XP so much that they didn't play around the top side of the map at all. And now Aloyski can do whatever he wants, walks up, gets out. He does lose out on the flicker, but he buys that Radiant armor, which is going to be great against Kyrie and Sons.
That's peculiar, because earlier Chidera, if I'm not mistaken, he was able to get the first item first. Faster than CW.
Exactly. Oh, Aloyski. Oh, forcing out the flicker. Rez already no mana. Popping the Glorious Pathways. Veldora jumps into the back. A boy still able to kite and peel for himself with the Eternal Guard. Rez pops in the Vengeance, but that's not going to be enough to get away from Vincent. Veldora, on the other hand, is having a field day on this Phobius. Jumping back and forth as the Dominator's set is able to get the kill on a boy, but Sans will be traded back. Vincent on the Nolan, on the Assassin.
2-1 traded out. Vincent does have the EXP lead, and not really sure if Fnatic Onic want to go for the contest, and it looks like they don't. Keyboy and CW retreating, and that's going to be a perfect turtle for Geek Fam.
It's so weird to see this like play out. Fnatic Onic, they're going for this approach where they're trying to match the impact, the pressure coming from Veldora with the Hylos, with Rez diving in the back line. And to his credit, he got a boy quite low, forcing a flicker out of him as well. But without any follow-up, it's just not possible. They're trying to match the shredding of the Moskov using a Brody. And it's just not going to be working out, especially with the potential for Veldora to dodge out from a lot of damage using the Infernal Pursuit.
Very confident predictions, by the way, boys. 2-0 for Fnatic Onic. It sure ain't looking good for them right now.
Well, Mr. Pulung definitely, you know, enjoys his moments, and this is one of them. But man, again, for Fnatic Onic, what's the idea here? It's almost like in these fights, if everyone dives together in the back line, like Sans with the Dominus Descent, and maybe even Kyrie, if they jump together, they can absolutely take out a boy. But they're now playing more around the EXP lane, and look at that, Vincent.
Just to steal, the wild charge is used, and then they go bot. Chidera is a turret eater on the Moskov. You would expect that from the Brody, not the Moskov. Level 11 to 9, that is a 2-level diff for the scaling marksman versus the early game marksman.
Which is why everything that Fnatic Onic were banking on is going wrong, right? They were banking on CW, winning the lane. That wasn't even entirely true. And now as we get into the mid-game, CW is far behind. Veldora, though.
All good, and it's a turret up top. It's a good trade for Geek Fam.
Wow. It was all just a distraction, Arashi.
Pressure one side, make plays on the other. Wishing Lantern very early on. Second item for a boy. So not even the Enchanted Talisman. He knows that the fights won't really go that long anyways. And even if it is going long, a boy will be forced out. So he goes for the extra bit of damage to ensure that when he drops that Eternal Guard, it will have impact.
Does seem like Fnatic Onic at this point are really looking for anything. Anyone that they spot, they'll try to poke down, they'll try to go for, but this is the main problem for the Hylos as well. Rez is already down in mana. Again, Beloyski can just recall back, and Fnatic Onic, I don't even think they can threaten the Lord take. They're 6,000 gold down. There is no way.
Kyrie's 2 levels below as well. So if we're looking for that 50-50, despite... I guess they're banking on Rez, right? I guess they're banking on Keyboy as well. If they can find a proper moment, maybe they'll have a chance.
Oh. The Terrify, they paint out the Vengeance. That is a green light for Geek Fam. They can go for the Lord at this point. Rez won't be tanky enough to do anything, and you can see it. Rez is already stepping back a bit.
There's the Thunderbolt, so he's going to be scaling a bit more. But Fanatic Onic, they have a wave pushing down, already taking out 1 turret. I think you're banking on Geek Fam spending time and effort on the Lord, and they're going to try and go for a pick-off, for a play onto Chidera or a boy. Keyboy is trying to find some information. Is that possible, though?
Look at Vincent, still up top, holding that angle. Both teams hovering over it. Vincent will be spotted. He will be able to get a bit of damage onto Rez. Both teams disengaged. They know they got to handle the wave down below. That is a massive wave, CW! With a flicker forward, Vincent trying to run away. The Tornapop memory is not going to be enough, but is very, very close to taking Vincent down.
But he gets out, right? At the end of the day, he gets out. And even if Tadera wanted to... Okay, he used his ult earlier. I was going to say if he wanted to re-engage, he can utilize it. But he is going to be able to clear. And they bought a little bit of time now for yet another setup from Geek Fam.
Ooh, Keyboy gotta be careful with the usage on the Bulwark, man. Boy and Chidera are timing their spells when it's off. And Rez now is shredding Beloyski, but the Lord is getting shredded down as well.
Keyboy trying to create an opening. Cody Turtle God with a Terrify. That locks Kyrie down. Rez in the back, not able to survive even with the Vengeance. That burst and the DPS is too much to handle. The horse down. The tree wins this time.
Oh, the Lord is marching a 7,500 gold lead. It was a wonder what Rez was doing in the back line. I don't think he even used his second skill.
The Law and Order and the Ring of Punishment. There's only so much he can do right there.
Yeah.
Walking forward, doing damage by all means, but without anyone to really secure the kill, it's a very kiteable high loss against this composition. And looking at the items, man, 3,400 gold ahead is Vincent on the Nolan. We did say that he can be a bit vulnerable on these assassins, but whoa!
What a read from Beloyski! The enhanced sword read out by Vincent too! Masterful stuff! 3-1-2, BBB, big brain Beloy, Keyboy getting dismantled by Chidera as he goes for the siege onto the base turret. Veldora just zones them in the back. What was that? Fantastic read from Beloy, and they might just end the game off of that. Kyrie 18 seconds down, no Keyboy as well. That's a Terrify onto Rez, who still doesn't have the Vengeance. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Vincent walking up, getting the fracture, zoning signs away. 12 minutes is all it takes for the Kingslayers. Big brain Beloy.
Complete control from Geek Fam in game number 1 to lead this best of 3 series. It looks like Onic were banking on a plan, but that plan was not able to be executed, and Geek Fam were able to walk all over the Sky Kings.
Rarely do we see the Sky Kings fall against dominant, against a team that's performing in a dominant fashion, let alone a 12-minute game. What was that, dude? Geek Fam, the draft was so good. They kind of cut off